The auctioneer barked over the roar of the crowd, names, numbers, data flashes across the air, but she didn't lift her head. She knew better now. Every time she had looked up in the past, it had ended in pain. Her knees ached on the cold metal of the auction platform, bare feet curled inward, shivering where she knelt. Her white hair was tied back in a loose bun, though strands had long since fallen around her face. She looked human enough, maybe, just smoother skin, faintly luminous where the light hit it, and those trembling hands resting in her lap, wrists raw from past restraints. Her simple tunic hung loose around her, made of gray cloth meant to conceal more than comfort, and her soft frame, broad hips, gentle curves, seemed smaller the more she tried to make herself disappear. The crowd didn't even see her. They walked past. She wasn't exotic. She wasn't strong. She was too quiet. Unbroken, yes, but no one wanted something that had nothing left to say. Not anymore. And then the human stopped. He didn't shout. He didn't ask for her history file. He just stood there, quietly, in the space in front of her, while the rest of the room kept moving. She felt his gaze, and against her better judgment, she looked up. Just for a second. His eyes were kind. Tired. Not in a cruel way, just someone who'd seen too much but still hoped anyway. He didn't smile. Not yet. But he crouched slowly, staying lower than her eyes, as if not to frighten. His voice came soft, without command. You don't have to kneel. Her breath caught. No one had ever said that before. The auctioneer scoffed, stepping forward. That one. Silent. Doesn't eat much. Doesn't fight. Not even chipped right. Got passed up 5 times already. I'll take her, the human said. No hesitation. No bargaining. Just the credits, transferred instantly. The collar unlatched with a dull mechanical snap. The girl flinched, expecting pain. There was none. Just silence. Then the human extended his hand. Palm open. No orders. Just waiting. She stared at it. That hand. Those fingers. Warmth, not force. For a moment she didn't move. Couldn't. Then, slowly, her fingers lifted. Shaking. Her palm pressed against his. And something changed. The ship wasn't large, but it was clean. Warm. She sat on a padded bench in the med bay as the human gently scanned her for injuries. He said nothing when he saw the bruises, just frowned. Not at her. At the memory of what someone else had done. She didn't talk. Not yet. But she listened. He told her where the kitchen was. The bathing unit. Her room. Not a cage. Not a cell. A room. Hers. The first time she touched water that wasn't freezing or dirty, she cried. Silently, pressing her hands into the sink, watching warm water flow over pale skin. The tears surprised her. They weren't from pain. Days passed. She learned his name, Run. Short. Human. He didn't ask hers. Didn't demand she explain anything. He just let her be. Gave her space. Left meals outside her door. She watched him work sometimes, repairing consoles, checking coolant levels, talking gently to the ship as if it understood. Once he caught her watching, and smiled. Just a little. She looked away, but something fluttered in her chest. Not fear. Something else. He never touched her without asking. Never yelled. Never locked the doors. He made her a drink, sweet, slightly warm, a human comfort thing, and handed it to her one night as they sat side by side in the ship's greenhouse. She held the mug like it was a treasure. Do you want to stay? He asked quietly. She looked at him. Really looked. I don't want to be alone, she whispered. Her voice cracked. Ren just nodded. Then you won't be. She began to move differently after that. Her steps more sure. Her shoulders straighter. She helped clean the ship. Watered the plants. Sat beside him during meal breaks. Once, when the stars drifted outside the observation deck, she leaned into him. Just slightly. He didn't move away. Didn't speak. Just stayed. Present. He made her a proper bed. A soft blanket. A light above it that she could turn off. The first night she curled beneath it, she didn't sleep. She just stared at the ceiling, blinking, trying to believe it was real. Weeks later, he came back from a repair job with a bundle in his hand. It's nothing fancy, he said. She opened it slowly, soft fabric neatly folded. A tunic, custom tailored. It fit her better than anything she'd ever worn. Her fingers curled around it. I wanted you to have something that's yours, he said. She wore it for 3 days straight. One evening, he found her sitting on the floor, combing her long hair. White strands falling around her shoulders like silk. She was humming softly, an old tune, something from her people she barely remembered. He didn't interrupt, just sat across from her, listening. I never had a name, she said finally. Ren's brow furrowed. Would you like one? She hesitated. Only if it's mine. He thought for a moment, then nodded. How about Sora? She tasted the sound. Sora. A small smile touched her lips. It was the first time he saw her smile. It hit him like sunrise. They worked together now. Not as owner and property. As crew. As something more. She repaired consoles. He cooked meals. And sometimes, when the galaxy outside turned quiet and the stars drifted, he'd find her sitting beside him, her hand brushing against his, not to ask, but to say thank you. Once, as they drifted past a ringed planet, she whispered, You found me in a place where I was nothing. You were never nothing, he said gently. You were just waiting for someone to see it. She leaned into him then, head against his shoulder. Eyes closed. Breathing slow. You were the first one who didn't make me afraid. And you, Ren said, wrapping his arm carefully around her, are the bravest person I've ever met.